There are moments in human history where you can almost feel the turning point, even thousands of years later. The Ice Age wasn't a single event, but a long, brutal test that shaped everything from our bodies to our tools to our understanding of the world. Temperatures dropped, wild game moved seasonally, landscapes shifted under glacial pressure, and early humans were forced into an arena where adaptability meant survival. Stay with this opening minute, because this is one of those stories where a single skill changed the entire trajectory of our species. It wasn't glamorous and it wasn't dramatic, but without it, none of the later breakthroughs, from agriculture to metalworking to navigation, would have been possible. Before fire as we know it, before hearths and kilns and controlled flames, there was a primitive Ice Age technique that taught humanity the most important lesson of all, that nature's forces could be harnessed methodically, not just feared. Understanding this skill today gives survivalists and outdoor enthusiasts a deeper appreciation of firecraft materials and human ingenuity, and offers practical takeaways for anyone wanting to reconnect with foundational knowledge. The harsh rhythm of Ice Age life forced early humans to develop controlled friction techniques. Contrary to the myths of sparks and lightning strikes as the origin of fire, the most important Ice Age fire-making breakthrough wasn't about discovering fire, but learning how to recreate it reliably. Early humans lived in landscapes full of moisture, cold temperatures and harsh winds, all of which made natural fire sources unpredictable. Waiting for lightning-burned trees or stumbling on smouldering ground simply wasn't sustainable. What changed history was the slow, persistent refinement of friction-based techniques. This wasn't the neat bow drill many people think of today. That came much later. Ice Age friction fire was cruder, more labour-intensive, and highly dependent on material selection. The essential principle was that two natural surfaces, rubbed under controlled pressure, could generate enough heat to create a coal. Early humans learned this not by accident, but through repeated contact work, grinding, scraping, boring and shaping tools from antler, bone and wood. These daily tasks taught them how heat builds under pressure. Eventually, they recognized that dry fibers and certain woods responded predictably. That recognition was the breakthrough. Fire was no longer a miracle. It became a technique. Modern enthusiasts can still feel the core lesson today. The materials you choose matter more than the method you use. Even if you never intend to start a fire in a primitive context, paying attention to how different natural materials respond to friction, pressure, and wear teaches you a lot about tool durability, cordage selection, safe handling, and how to judge moisture in the environment. Material awareness became the foundation of successful Ice Age firecraft. One of the most important Ice Age insights was the understanding of dryness versus density. You see, Ice Age winds could desiccate materials that looked weathered and useless, while glacial melt could soak logs that appeared solid. Early humans learned to read material quality through touch, sound, and breakability long before formal knowledge existed. They gravitated toward materials that gave consistent results, softer woods for generating dust, fibrous inner barks for holding heat, and certain grasses and roots that could cradle an ember without suffocating it. This material awareness is still, honestly, one of the most transferable outdoor skills today. Even modern fire starters, whether you're talking about ferro rods or matches, depend on tinder choice more than anything else. A person who really knows how to assess material dryness, density and airflow can, well, succeed in situations where someone with expensive gear still fails. Try this on your next hike by, collecting natural fibers and testing how they crumble, bend or flake. You're not trying to make fire, but just to understand why certain materials behave predictably across temperature and humidity changes. That knowledge, honestly, is an Ice Age inheritance. The biggest misconception about early firemaking is that it was all about brute force. In reality, the success of Ice Age friction fire depended heavily on consistency. Too much pressure and the surface is polished without generating heat. Too little and the dust wouldn't form. Too fast and the material scattered. Too slow and the temperature never rose. This formed one of the earliest examples of skill-based survival learning, a repeatable rhythm. Even if modern survivalists don't use primitive firemaking, the transferable lesson is learning to settle into a steady technique. Whether you're setting up a shelter, tending a stove, or processing materials, consistency beats speed every time. Try practicing any repetitive outdoor task, whittling, scraping bark, maintaining a knife edge, until your motions become stable and controlled. You are essentially training the same patience Ice Age humans relied on. What makes this firemaking breakthrough so important is not really the flame itself, but rather the mental shift it created. Early humans started to realize they weren't just passive recipients of nature's conditions. Instead, they could actually create warmth, light, cooked food, hardened tools, and, protection on demand. That sort of confidence, over time, eventually led to permanent hearths, which then led to larger shelters and, in turn, to stable communities. Fire was truly the catalyst for every stage of human advancement, and it all began with a simple, repeatable skill learned under those tough Ice Age conditions. For today's survivalist, the takeaway here is as much philosophical as it is practical. Learn to shape your environment in small, consistent ways, rather than just relying on luck or fancy gear. Know your materials, study your landscape, build routines that give you stability even when conditions are unpredictable. Those, my friends, are Ice Age principles that still hold real power. So, if you found this deep dive into humanity's earliest survival breakthroughs valuable, make sure you subscribe to Backyard Wisdom, share this guide with fellow enthusiasts, and, stay tuned for more explorations into the old skills that shaped our world and still matter today.